I am with Michelle Danner, the filmmaker behind The Italians. Michelle, great to speak with you again. As I'm a huge fan of Miranda's Victim, so pleasure to speak with you again.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
So, The Italians, such a great ensemble. Was that one of the big draws for you as far as helming this movie and as well as acting in it? The fact that you have such a diverse array of talent going into this really wonderful comedy. Was that one of the aspects that drew you to this project?
Absolutely. It was when everybody came together and we created a family to shoot this wonderful story that spoke to me. It was a story from the heart that Lisa Visca Phillips brought to me, and it reminded me of my own family. I always say when we sat at the dinner table, you didn't quite know what was going to fly in the air, but you were assured that something was going to. And little by little, when you make a movie, the pieces of the puzzle come together. And when I realized that I was going to be fortunate enough to have this wonderful cast to come and tell this story, this fun story about a family that needed to accept each other, not hold grudges, forgive, and at the same time eat some great food at the dinner table, I was just very excited to do this.
How cool was it to work and just alongside Rob? Because I this is a role I've never really seen him in before. It must have been great because you guys are great. You guys are going back and forth with each other, and it's just a great partnership. What was it like to have that partnership with Rob throughout their journey?
Rob and I have known each other for a very, very long time. As a matter of fact, I don't have not quite got a lot of Botox yet, but we've known each other and we have creatively played on stage and on set. And so we always have a lot of fun doing this banter. And as a matter of fact, we're working on some other projects together. He's a wonderful actor. He is. We did a few decades ago a play by Tennessee Williams, The Rose Tattoo. At the time, it hadn't been done in Los Angeles in 18 years. And at the same time, he was on Melrose Place. So every night we were sold out. We had great reviews. We got awards. And there's a moment when he opens a bottle of champagne, and you never know where the cork was going to fly. It was always a surprise.
That's
And we
amazing.
always laugh. And one night, I think it hit me. It didn't hurt me, but it hit me. And the audience was in stitches and laughed for 3 minutes. We had a great time doing it. We had a great time doing the Italians. And I'm so happy because it's getting some really good feedback. People are liking it. People are feeling it's a movie with, everything that is going on that is light and makes us feel and love family. And so it feels like it's the right movie for our time.
Acting opposite Lainie Kazan must be such a great collaboration because no matter what role she's in, you believe her immediately. And you being an acting and artist veteran must have been great going back and forth with Lainie as well and having
Oh,
her as part of your project.
I remember I had gone to meet with an executive producer for the movie, and on the way back, I was in the car, and the agent of Lainey called and said she was going to do it. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I've always admired her work for years, for decades. And so we had this scene, this really emotional scene about forgiveness, and we did 3 takes of it. And I was looking in her eyes and I was getting emotional every time. And at the end of the third take, my son, who's been helping me with this movie, he comes and he says no words. He has tears in his eyes and he just has a hand on his heart. And I'll always remember the visual of him just coming like this and telling me it worked. It moved me. It was great to work with her, but she's so funny. We did the festival circuit for a year. Every single screening, she brings the house down. She is the showstopper of the movie.
Oh, that's amazing. Michelle, you have one of the most interesting paths as far as being an artist and a filmmaker. You're also an acting coach and you've worked on the stage and you're a director. Where did the directing part along with the acting coach part, are they two different roads or are they the same road? I just find that so interesting with what you do and what you're passionate about.
They're two different roads, and yet at the same time, they're the same road because they all lead to a passion of storytelling. And so I'm passionate about telling stories, all kinds of stories, and that is the very reason why I am attracted to different genres. But I really am very attracted to stories that feel to me timely, unique, that maybe haven't been told, such as Miranda's Victim. Obviously, stories about families have been told. I always say when people come to me and say, has this been done? I always say, yeah, but not by you. So that's the uniqueness of it. Yes, of course, every theme, every story in a certain variation has been tackled, but not by you yet.
Michelle, how impossible is it you're directing this movie, but you're also pretty much the lead. You have such a big role in this movie. What's the challenge? And when filmmakers ask you, what's the key to actually acting in your own film as well as directing? Because to me, as a layperson, it just seems so hard to do. I'm clueless, obviously.
The key, I think, is to surround yourself with people that are passionate about the project, as passionate as you are, that are willing to really help you and be committed. I had that family. As a matter of fact, I remember rehearsing with Abigail Breslin, with Matthew Daddario, with Rob Estes, and myself. We were rehearsing in what was my dressing area. And I just had so much gratefulness at the end of it. I said I couldn't have picked better people to do this exercise with. You guys are just great. And they were so happy to be there. Everybody was happy to be on set. I did not find it very difficult to be in front of the camera, behind the camera. I would watch a couple of takes. I would give notes to everybody else, including myself, of course. And then I would go right back and do it. I had made a pact with myself. I don't act in every movie that I direct. Obviously, Miranda's Victim, I did not, and others have not as well. Some I have, smaller parts, bigger parts, but it didn't matter. For this movie, I made a pact with myself that I was going to have fun. Because then what was the point if I was going to struggle and it was going to be tedious and nerve-wracking? Why put myself through that? It was not necessary to do that. And I was able to fulfill the pact. I was able to do it. I was able to have an enormous amount of fun. As a matter of fact, I think we had 18 or 19-day shoot. There was never a day where I did not have fun. I fulfilled my commitment to myself.
An often used phrase is a house is not a home. That said, I really love the house in this movie. How did you find it? It just felt so comforting and comfortable. You actually got to feel the house and the next door neighbor.
Yeah,
What was it like? Yeah.
you're right. It was a character. I had found this house and I contacted the owner. Turns out she knew me because at the time she lived in Santa Barbara and we were the opening night movie at the Santa Barbara International Film Festival with Miranda's Victim. And so at the Arlington Theater, that historical theater, and she knew all about that. And also she was an actress, so she knew that I was an acting teacher. And so we connected and she was gracious enough and generous enough. And I say generous because not only did she let us shoot in her house, but after that we went to do some promotional skits, some vignettes that we've been posting to promote the movie on Instagram, on TikTok, etc., on social media. And she gave us her house at no cost, so graciously and generously. When you cross paths in this lifetime with people that you just connect with, and when something happens, a certain synergy, I always feel very lucky when that happens.
That's amazing. I really loved how this movie, it starts off, you're thinking, oh, this is going to be a fun, broad comedy, but it gets really deep as the story progresses. You get involved with the banter, but there's just so much more underlying substance to the story. Can you elaborate on that fact regarding the script and just, I'm sure you go in for the comedy, but you leave with so much more, I'm assuming.
When we were working on a shooting script, that was many conversations that me and my team had about should it take that turn. I really wanted it to take that turn. I'm not going to spoil it for people that may be listening and haven't seen it. I fought for the story to be that. Certain people felt, oh, it's maybe too sad or too, but I thought this is what I want to say in this movie, whether people like it or do not like it. I want to talk about how the people that we love always are with us, especially those that have a larger than life energy to them. They're always with us, always. That is the story that I wanted to tell. I'm very happy to tell it. And I think a lot of people had said, I didn't expect it. I think when you can surprise people in the storytelling of it and they don't see it coming, that's a very good thing.
Also, I think what's really awesome is when you have comedies, family comedies, a lot of times, and I don't mind it, you have all of the characters by the end, they learn a valuable lesson, they change their characters like night and day. And you look at that and go, okay, that's a fine, entertaining comedy, and you forget it. But without giving too much away, with the Italians, you laugh with them, but then towards the end, a lot of them just keep their same persona, their personality. It's just about how life happens to them. Was that also part of the discussion, which I thought was really cool as well, because it seems more like real life as opposed to a fake movie. You know what I'm saying? Or
That's right. Yeah, we discussed all the characters and the arc of every character and who they were to one another emotionally and how they changed towards one another. And with the forgiveness, that there's only that people are real and this is real life and this is what people are like. And it's a slice of life. It's got some nostalgia in it. I know that it's very funny. That's why if somebody doesn't find it funny, that's fine because you may not find it funny, but we played it into different audiences, filled, sold out to the rim, and people laughed nonstop, and we didn't pay people to laugh. It was organic, it was genuine, it's because they found it enjoyable. And that was it. It was a fun movie, but at the end of it, that has meaning to it.
Michelle, what keeps you motivated? Because after a lot of you've directed your share of films, you've with being an acting coach, you've actually done so well in that profession as well. But a lot of people can become complacent and maybe they'll stop in their tracks and just smell the roses and maybe not do a lot of the work. But we're looking at your resume right now and you're just keep moving forward. What keeps you moving forward and motivated?
I think the passion for storytelling. I'm about to get on 3 planes now to go to the Cannes Film Festival. And I'm looking at it and I'm just aging, just thinking about it. It's gonna be heavy lifting, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. It's very possible right now, 90% that I'm going to be shooting in June. And then I'll be shooting again before the end of the year, another feature. And so I am driven by the love of storytelling.
What's coming? Can you tell us what's coming up next after the Italians? What's is there something in the can? What can you tell us without giving too much away, I guess that you what can you tell us basically?
Yeah, it's a romantic comedy called Starstruck, and then I have a great sci-fi thriller called Helios, a wonderful MMA movie called The Girl in the Red Corner. I'm attached to several projects, Party Crasher, which is based on a real story. I am attached to different movies, and I'm excited about all of them. I always say the planes are on the runway, and depending, it's always interesting when you're a filmmaker because every filmmaker has different movies they want to make, but it's the plane that gets fueled is the one that takes off first. And a lot of pieces of the puzzle have to come together for a movie to take off. But listen, if you're not passionate about it, it's not an easy craft. It's not easy to pull off. It's challenging. So you better love it. If not, I think you might be in trouble.
I could be wrong in this, but you mentioned pieces of the puzzle, Michelle. And what are some of the things that maybe more inexperienced filmmakers don't get regarding the puzzle? Because it seems to me from watching your movies, you get to really make the movies you want. So, what has been your key as far as making those movies you want, as opposed to a lot of filmmakers who maybe they feel like they don't have that? I don't know if it's that freedom or that leeway or that path that you've carved out for yourself. What are people missing in that puzzle?
I don't know because everybody, I'm sure, has like an individual story. I did struggle with an experience that I had, a movie that I made not too long ago that I'm in post right now. But I can tell you now that ultimately I did end up making the movie that I wanted to make, even though there were obstacles with that movie. And I'm very happy with it. I think that who you surround yourself with, who do you say yes to? Ultimately, a director has the power to pick a lot of the creative team that surrounds them. I guess it's like picking a husband or a wife or a girlfriend or a boyfriend. You have to make the right decision because those are important decisions. If you pick a person that doesn't work for the team, for the vision that you have. So I think for every filmmaker, the biggest advice is to really stay true to the vision that you have inside of you, and as much as possible to inspire the people around you to come around to your vision.
Michelle, final couple of questions. Just right off the top of your head, can you name one of your all-time favorite movies? Maybe a movie from your youth that inspired you to become a filmmaker? And you mentioned passion for storytelling. Is there that one movie that really put you over the top to become a storyteller yourself?
I would tell you that, which did not age well, but Gone with the Wind, I loved. Ben-Hur, I loved when I was little. Young Frankenstein, I remember cutting my classes to go. I grew up in Paris, in France, and I cut my classes to go and watch Young Frankenstein on the Champs-Élysées. And as I grew older, I've always loved, if you ask me, my favorite rom-com would be When Harry Met Sally. My favorite thriller would be Heat. American Gangster, I also love a lot. Of course, the Godfather, and Citizen Kane. I have a lot of favorites. I'm very eclectic in my style. And as of lately, I love the fact that Nora won for Best Movie only because I liked it personally. I know a lot of people might not, I liked it. And I think there was a lot of sex. And I started to watch it with my 15-year-old, and I'm like, go away. We're not watching this together. But it's a real poster child for independent movies that you can make a movie that will win an Oscar for 6 million. It doesn't have to be 100 million. And so I'm obviously very for independent movies and for independent filmmakers to have their voices and to be able to, like the director of The Brutalist said, make the movie that you want to make. Trust the filmmaker.
Michelle, so after people watch The Italians, can you, from your own resume, can you recommend one of your prior directing efforts, maybe a film that you might feel is underrated for them to watch?
Yes, because Miranda's Victim, everybody should watch it because it's the only movie that's out there that tells you how the Miranda rights came about, the true story of that. But before that, I did a movie called The Runner. And with a young, wonderful actor, Edouard Philippe Onah, Cameron Douglas. And it's a movie that I'm just very proud of, The Runner. And it's about this kid that basically tries to bring down the drug kingpin of the town because he is caught into a whole web of drugs and intrigue. And I wrote the treatment of it, and I had a wonderful writer, Jason Chase Terrell, write the screenplay. So The Runner, watch The Runner.
Michelle, thank you so much. You can catch The Italians, if I'm not mistaken, on Prime Video right
Amazon
now.
Prime right now exclusively, and then in a few weeks it'll be on Apple, it'll be on Google Play, it'll be on Vudu and other platforms.
Michelle, thank you so much for your time. Looking
Thank you.
forward to speaking with you on your upcoming films as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. For more movie and television reviews and interviews, please subscribe to my Deepest Dream channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, thanks so much for your support. Take care.